where, where people who aren't familiar with MDT, they're taking the class for the first time, you treat a patient, you give the patient instructions, I want you to do X, Y, or Z every 2 hours. That's a shock for a lot of the therapists because they're not used to giving patients instructions to do an exercise that frequently, to be that mindful of the posture. So invariably that question will come up, how do you get your patients to be compliant? My answer is always the first thing is you have to be right. You have to be right in your classification and your instruction to that patient. So now, if you're right and the patient sees the benefit in doing it, they'll do it. By and large, they'll do it. Now, it may take a visit or 2 or 3 for them to see it as clearly as you do. But it's demonstrating that cause and effect, whether it's the cause and effect of changing the posture, the cause and effect of the exercise. I mean, it's not unusual for me to point out to a patient if they were able to abolish their symptoms with an exercise. When they're up and walking around, before they're walking out, I say, listen, you came in with symptoms, you're walking out without it. And I didn't put my hands on you. I didn't do anything to you. You can repeat this experiment, at home, at work. If the symptoms return, I want you to immediately do this, see if it's able to go away, in addition to the every 2 hours. I think therapists sometimes can be their own worst enemy because they think, they can always do better, in the sense that, well, listen, this worked, the precepts abolish their pain, but let's get their core strong and let's heat them up and let's have them do this exercise and that. So they throw everything in them and the patient loses the connection of what did what. So I will have, therapists come up to me and listen, Dave, we do what you do. We do what, we're a McKenzie clinic, we do that. But what's wrong with, in addition to the patients like the way heat and stim feels? What's wrong with when they're all done putting that on? Listen, everybody wants to be stronger. What's wrong with having them do some planks and, bridges? Well, nothing's wrong, However, if all I did was tell that patient to sit up erect and show them one exercise that made their pain go away and told them, listen, you got to do that one exercise and you got to sit this way because the pain went away, who's got a better chance of their patient sitting up straight on the way home? Me or the patient who did that same exactly? I'll even give them the benefit of the doubt. They did it every bit as good as I did. But they heated them and electrocuted them, did the weights, and, that magic machine had to do something that vibrated my back. And, he wouldn't be having me do all these strengthening exercises if there wasn't no benefit to it. So best case scenario, he does feel good when he drove home, but he doesn't know why. It is hard to change habits. It's hard to gain compliance. So I think the more simple we can be with it, the fewer the variables, the easier it is for us all to get to that end point.